Hello there, my friends. How are you today? Just wanted to go over why I hate calm, and why you should hate calm too, and why it is truly, most definitely, the most horrible thing that has ever been invented by mankind. You know what I was thinking to do for my next adventure here on this adventurous journey was my little animation thing there I was showing you guys before. Um, well, I thought that maybe I can figure out the format of an animated GIF file. And so I went to this web page, this one here, planetsourcecode.com, and I did a search for animated GIF, and it didn't come up with much, but I did get these projects. now this one actually looks the most promising. I added this bit at the beginning. It's not in C++, but it's in some other language, so whatever, everything just translates. Look. Send to. It's really basic or something. Long, I know what a bitmap info header is. Declare function, right? How long would it? I could probably write a program to convert this directly to C++. So that's the most promising because it actually does parse an animated GIF. This is a great big mess of a thing that I'm sure no use whatsoever. This is like a full graphics engine, which claimed to have something to do with animated GIFs, but I don't think so, because I don't see a single GIF in this entire project. He just uses bitmaps. See, those are animations. He's just doing what I was doing. Take a bitmap and cut it up into bits. Now this one, well, aside from this great big icon file of 17K, and these zero size files, here's the entire code for this one. Okay. Now this one uses GDI+, and look how easy it is. First, all you got to do is get the encoder class ID. CLS ID, that's those com things. Those are those CLS IDs. How do I get this to contract? This is classes root. These, after you get past all the dots, and these word things, whoops, maybe it's before the words. No. There's something called CLS ID. Oh, class. I see. It's a class. Maybe CID. Here, CLSID. See that? There they all are. Those are class IDs. Alright. Now look at the code. Get encoder class ID format. Now a format is like an image format identifier, usually something like image slash BMP, image, JPEG, so on like that, right? Those are called MIME strings, MIME. Okay. In fact, look, here's the word MIME type. Okay. Now, I don't know how this functions implemented, but it must be included in GDI plus. Now the code here is just, there's nothing to it. Get encoders. Okay. P image codec info. Now codec info is just a struct. So now this is a struct passed in, and a num, which is given, num and size were given by this. So that got all the encoders for all images. So pass that in, and now it's just filling this thing up. And now it's a matter of walking through the list, comparing the MIME type with something called format. And format is, where is that defined? Up here. Okay, so that would have been like image slash GIF. Eventually you find the class ID. It's the same. Delete all that stuff you just made. Free everything else and return J. And what is, it's an int. Oh, and so this class ID gets filled up. I see. Okay. So this class ID is some kind of structure, I suppose, and a pointer to that class ID is given. Anyway, it can't be that hard. Now the rest of the code is nothing. Create a window, add a menu, create window EX, blah 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 blah. WM paint. Now this part is actually probably unnecessary. You know, paint struct get DC, and you need to do that. This is GDI plus. I'm sure they've got a fill rex function, but he does it anyway. Then he gets something called a graphics, which pulls out of the HDC, kind of like our thing that takes something from an H-wind. In fact, most game engines have a thing called graphics. Set the page units to pixels, draw a rectangle, draw the image, and the paint, and you're done. The rest of this is just like open and close files dialogues. So that's the entire code. Okay? Now you can see why people like to use GDI plus. There's nothing to it. Alright? Get the class ID and you're done. Okay, now there's no way in hell I'm ever going to use that. First, let me just try and give you a sense why. There is a type of file called a GIF. Now, if you look it up in the registry, in the old days, even when COM and OLE and all that existed, sometimes this would tell you like which program to use to open the file. However, in our case, we're not so lucky. This is, well, these are programs like that would be offered as selections in Explorer, but that's not what you're, nothing's been selected here. Now there are some possibilities given. And then there's this thing called persistent handler. Now, I'm very interested in this persistent handler because, presumably, persistent means something that doesn't change. So whatever these things are doing, they must be using this persistent thing, right? Well, let's find out what this 98 blah 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 thing is. Okay, now look, here's another thing using it. That's funny. That's a GZ file. Oh, and another thing using it. And another thing's using it. Well, you might be starting to get the idea that this particular persistent handler is kind of a catch-all for like when you don't know what you're going to do with it. But eventually it does come to its entry in the class IDs. See JPEG. Some of it's images, some of it's .lib. It's got nothing to do with any type. But hang on, well, we'll get to it. It doesn't take too long. I wanted to get a sort of a feel for how this stuff is laid out. So this apparently is what you put in if you don't know what to open something with, where its implementation is. Come on. Okay, well, let's give it a pattern. Actually, here comes the... Here. I think. Oh no. See, now even some of these CLS IDs are using it. Well, it's closer to 9, so start here. Now where are we? D09, sorry. Okay, did I find it? There it is. It's the null persistent handler. Okay. Now what is registered under a null persistent handler? Two things. Now here, first I looked up this one and I tried to remember that this is near 8. So have a look for this one. Okay, now this says this is a null filter. So this is when you don't know about how to filter something. Okay, so that's query. So now I wanted to go back to the other one, Manure 8, and it should still be expanded. Okay. Rich, now this is the persistent handler for rich text format, which also uses the same filter category. Okay, I thought we saw this one already. We saw this one already. We're retracing our steps. Okay, cut some of this out. Okay, well, I'm about to give up on this. The point is that eventually I found some of these filter things. I haven't found any yet. I've only found references to filter things, but no CLS IDs. Well, some of them had DLLs, but they didn't define a class. Like it's got to have all that. One of them did. It had improc server and blah blah blah. Now the way you're supposed to actually, look for these things is to use the OLE viewer. Nothing to it. Here are our classes. Okay, now what we're looking for again is what is the, like if you look back at that code, now where'd that graphics thing come from? The graphics thing came from somewhere. Oh no, graphics is just defined. Whoops. At some point, he had to have. See, the class ID is not enough. You need to get something called an interface ID. And it's not in this one, I see. Oh, it's in this one. This is another one using OLE. I actually compiled this and it ran. This one's a little bit clearer. See, IID picture is this is called an interface identifier. There's class identifier, and then a class thing contains a bunch of, it implements something, and the implementations have identifiers. So you have class IDs and interface IDs, and the OLE view thing lets you see both. So let's take like a bitmap image here. Okay. Here's its class IP. Here's the standard editor would be that. Okay. Now that's a class ID. Now suppose we want to edit it. We need to look at its interface. Now here's its interface. Okay. So let's see, something to do with the file. would be useful. Object, a name, file, interface, web browser event, persist file. So it has a persist file interface. In place object. So we can use it in a web browser. Here's web browser container. Oh yeah, if we had an OLE, we can get an OLE container of that and make an ActiveX object in place, I guess. Not sure. I don't see GIF anyway. Okay, well maybe. Now type libraries, that might help us find something with GIF. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A, C, D, E, F, G, F, no, GIF. No. Grinder, maybe picture. H-I, no. Image. A-T-I-M-E. IMEJ. That sounds like JPEG. Type library. FX. Now this could have something to do with GIFs maybe. But I don't know. I'm not really sure what these things are. How about interfaces? Okay. Maybe we can find the word GIF in interfaces. I did click on this. It's not responding. There's more than one or two to find, and this is only a supercomputer, so it takes a little while to load up that list. Yeah. I better not click it twice. Oh dear. Okay, well here it is, okay. G, A, B, oh yeah, now everything's going to start with I. Integrate G, GIF, GIF. Get glass. Yeah, no, it's gonna have to be something like picture or image. Image maybe. iMappy. Managed. Oh, here we can malloc some memory. iMapping. Bypass image. Image observer. Okay, here's an interface. Web browser. PSO. Oh, that's a class. Okay, now here's a type lib. Net framework thing. Image consumer. Web browser. Okay, so it's obvious. If it hasn't become obvious by now, Either you're an expert on COM and OLE and all that stuff, or this makes absolutely no sense to you whatsoever, and there's no way you're ever going to make any sense out of it by just fiddling around with these programs. It's simply that there's too much junk. This is just junk. This isn't information, it's garbage. You know, you're not going to learn anything looking at this, and useless. All I want to find out is how to parse one file. Well, the best example I found, the most promising, I think, besides that one that's not in C, is this pick view, which even though it doesn't do more than a single image style get, it might be a good start. Now this is written for DOS, believe it or not, and it uses an int 13 to draw on the screen, and that's actually really something I want. You see, because here's the main program. Okay. Now, okay, press enter to view such and such file. Press enter, right, and then now it draws it. What it does is uses int 13, which is the graphics interrupt under DOS, to change the video mode and draw a picture. Then it comes back to text mode, and then you press enter again, and it goes on. Now see, this is perfect for our multi-threading thing. We can have a console, right, that has all this sketch stuff, and have a window, right, for displaying the pictures, which would run in its own thread, so that we can sit here and wait for someone to press a key. You see what I'm saying? Now I'll just take out this int 13 stuff and replace it with a message loop, right? And if I can, and it's not figuring out this code, it's not exactly rocket science. I mean, struct this, car, get bit, fread. The only thing it does is plot pixel, right? So X, Y, and code is just because the palette, out code is a color value corresponding to some number from 0 to 255, right? Yeah, all GIFs are paletted. So I'd like to take this, at least, even if it only does the first picture, and use that and create a multi-threaded thing. You'll see here. You're gonna see it to believe it. Where is it? This is int 13. Come on, where are you? Maybe it's in the CPP file. There. Include dos.h. You believe it? Skyrim survived. We just saw F-string. I have to call that out. Yeah, dir, include dir.h, dos.h. Directories were a big thing back then, so there was a special header file just to deal with the idea of a directory. Okay, I'm going to clip out a lot of what I've said. I think you get the idea. That's what I'm going to try and work on. Maybe I'll come up with a video. It might be kind of interesting. And then, once that's working, if I can't figure out how to get the other images out, I'll take this and I'll convert this to C++, and we'll get all the images out, and we'll have our multi-threading and our GIFs, and we'll be animating while we're ready to press enter at the console. Well, I will be working.